In 1984, Ford turned heads by replacing the classic V8 with a turbocharged four-cylinder in their iconic Mustang. Today, we're diving into the story of the SVO Mustang, the model that proved performance isn't measured in cylinder count alone. 1984 marked an important moment for American muscle cars. With memories of the 70s oil crisis still fresh, performance vehicles were in a slump. Ford, however, wasn't content with the status quo. They assembled a team of engineers with a clear mission. They wanted to create a car that could deliver power while also being fuel efficient. The result was the turbocharged four-cylinder SVO Mustang. It was a bold move by Ford, shifting away from the traditional V8 powerhouses. But this Mustang wasn't just about horsepower, it was about balance. It was designed to compete with foreign rivals while meeting emission standards, and it did compete. The SVO Mustang made waves in the automotive world, proving that American muscle could adapt to changing times. Now, let's dive into the backstory. In the 1970s, Ford made a big shift in its approach to car production. Henry Ford II decided to pull the plug on Ford's racing sponsorships. This move came at the same time the government introduced Corporate Average Fuel Economy, CAF Regulations. These rules meant that car makers faced fines if their fleet's average fuel efficiency fell below certain thresholds. Now, what did this really mean? Every car's fuel efficiency rating counted. If one car didn't meet the mark, it could lead to hefty fines for the whole company. So car makers had to get creative to improve fuel economy. That's where aerodynamics became a big deal. Making cars more streamlined helped them sip fuel more efficiently. While all this was going on, Ford was still making the Mustang. But let's be honest, the performance of the Mustang II in the mid-70s was nothing to write home about. By 1975, Ford saw the writing on the wall and started working on the next-gen Mustang. With the stage set for change, what innovative steps did Ford take to revolutionize the Mustang's design and performance? Keep watching to find out. The Fox body Mustang hit the scene in 1979. Ford went all out, pouring resources into crafting a car that was not just sleek but also fuel efficient. They even tested it through a wind tunnel to make sure it was aerodynamically sound. The new Mustang came in two flavors, coupe and hatchback. Under the hood, there was something for everyone, from a humble four-cylinder to the legendary V8 302 small block. In the early days of the Fox body Mustangs, Ford aimed to infuse them with a true sports car spirit. However, they fell short of expectations. Recognizing the need to up their game, Ford established a special division in 1980 dedicated to overseeing performance programs and crafting limited edition performance vehicles for the street. This division was dubbed the Special Vehicle Operations Department, or SVO, and it was led by Michael Kranefuss, a seasoned veteran from Ford of Europe's racing department. SVO's mission was clear: to create a Mustang that embodied American muscle, but could also hold its own on twisty European-style roads. The Fox body Mustang seemed like the perfect canvas. Thus, the Mustang IMSA Project was born in 1981. Ford tapped former Porsche driver Klaus Ludwig to pilot one of the new 2.3-liter turbocharged four-cylinder Mustangs at IMSA events. Meanwhile, SVO provided funding and support to various drivers to advance the project. Before the SVO came along, earlier turbocharged Mustangs were not good enough, with only 132 horsepower. That wasn't much better than their regular old versions. But then, in stepped McLaren with their M81 Mustang. They cranked up the power to 175 horsepower, showing what the Turbo 4 could really do. Sure, they only made 10 of them, but it was like a sneak peek into the turbocharged future. Fast forward to 1982, and the SVO team was in full swing. 30 engineers were burning the midnight oil to build two Mustang prototypes. These bad boys were gearing up for a tough test, a 24-hour race at Nelson's Ledges, Ohio. Winning wasn't the main goal. They just wanted to see how tough these cars really were. And while only one prototype made it to the finish line, they showed some serious promise, especially in handling. Now that we've seen Ford's innovative approach to the Mustang, How did the SVO model redefine the capabilities of American muscle cars? Stay tuned as we dive into the game-changing details. Ford was getting excited. Those SVO prototypes hinted at something big, a Mustang that could handle like a dream. With each lap, Ford's dream of a high-performance Mustang was getting closer to reality. But just when things were heating up, Ford dropped a bombshell. They said they were ditching the Mustang to team up with Mazda on a front-wheel drive sports car. Yes, it was a shocker, but thankfully, Ford came to its senses and went back to Plan A. There was a slight delay, but in late 1983, the SVO finally hit the streets as a 1984 model, and the rest, as they say, is history. The 1984 SVO Fox Body Mustang is like a poster child for the 80s car design. Forget about the smooth, rounded shapes of the 70s. This Mustang rocks bold and sharp lines. If you wanted to catch a glimpse of this unique look, you had to go for the hatchback version, because that's the only way you'd get the SVO package. Let's zoom in on what makes this Mustang so special. At the front, you've got a sleek aerodynamic design that cuts through the wind like a pro. But the real showstopper? It's got to be that funky biplane style rear spoiler. And don't overlook the special hood. It's equipped with a unique snorkel that channels air directly into the intercooler, ensuring optimal performance. But the real magic happens when you pop that hood open. That's where you'll find the heart of the SVO. A 2.3-liter turbocharged single overhead cam Lima 4-cylinder engine. Ford didn't hold back with this one. With some fancy tuning and an intercooler to keep things chill, they managed to squeeze out 14 pounds of boost from this little powerhouse. In 1984, running on some high-octane gas, this beast pumped out 175 horsepower at 4,400 RPM and 210 foot-pound of torque at 3,000 RPM. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, the following year, things got even crazier, with peak power reaching 205 horsepower and 248 foot-pound of torque. This increased power had a thrilling impact on the road, and when it hits the pavement, watch out. With a T5 5-speed manual transmission and a Ford 7.5-inch rear end, this Mustang's ready to rumble. This setup allowed the SVO to sprint from 0 to 60 in around 7.5 seconds and cover the quarter mile in 15.5 seconds at 90 miles an hour with a top speed of 135 miles per hour. Beyond just speed, the SVO Mustang introduced a new standard in handling and balance. The SVO Mustang was a game-changer in terms of its chassis design, offering top-notch handling and weight distribution, making it stand out from its V8 counterparts. It came equipped with independent front suspension and quad-shock live axle suspension in the rear. Plus, it has four-wheel disc brakes, stiffer springs, different bushings, and adjustable Coney shocks and struts, all standard. If you step inside, you'll find a sleek interior tailored for performance enthusiasts. Each SVO had a charcoal gray interior with padded seats from Le Sigler. The instrument cluster was modern, featuring a tachometer with an aggressive 8,000 RPM cap and a speedometer capped at 85 miles an hour. But those unnumbered red lines hinted at speeds of up to 140 miles per hour, strictly for closed roads, of course. When it came to racing, the SVO Mustangs dominated the SCCA Trans Am and IMSA GT series. With Jack Roush on board, they clinched victory in 17 out of 34 contests from 1985 to 1986. By 1989, Ford had racked up an impressive 46 Trans Am victories, more than all other manufacturers combined, proving the SVO's performance capabilities. Even though the SVO Mustang was a hit, it had its fair share of hurdles to overcome. When gas prices started to fall in the 80s, people weren't as crazy about turbocharged four-cylinders anymore. They wanted big engines and more power. Plus, the SVO was pricier than the V8 Mustang GT, which turned off a lot of potential buyers. Even though Ford tried to lower prices and make the SVO even better, sales didn't skyrocket as they had hoped. It was a tough road for the SVO, but it left a lasting impression on Mustang fans everywhere. Only 9,844 SVO Mustangs were made during its 3-year run. However, its legacy lived on as the Special Vehicle Operations Team turned into the Special Vehicle Team, SVT, in 1993. They continued to create iconic vehicles like the SVT Lightning and SVT Cobra. Today, the SVO Mustang remains a prized possession for Mustang enthusiasts everywhere. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't miss out on this. Breaking news: Ford's new cars self-repo.